This is ABC 7 News This Morning.
It is 6:20 now, and it looks like a lot of us, all of us, will be paying for America's financial meltdown, including the $700 billion bailout. But what led to the emergency in the first place, and is anyone to blame? Thomas Glasgow is a former Cook County assistant state's attorney. He's now in private practice, and he's here to explain the FBI's investigation into companies involved in the bailout, including AIG, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and Lehman Brothers. Good morning, Thomas. Nice to have you here.
Good morning.
Let's first talk about how did we get into this mess in the first place?
Well, just a simple overview of what occurred. To get where we are now, you have to understand that, first of all, subprime mortgages were to blame for this. Right. What happened was the banks were giving loans to people that were not qualified for the loans. They then packaged these loans together, sold them as securities. We all pay PMI, or most of us do, on our mortgages, the insurance that guarantees the mortgage. When the insurance on the mortgage when everybody began to default, the insurance couldn't cover everything. And that's what AIG primarily did. Okay. Lehman Brothers also did the same thing and ended up funding these securities that were the mortgages packed as securities and then sent off and sold. And what happened then is when the hedge funds owners ended up seeing that these were going under, when people weren't paying their loans and weren't defaulting and the insurance couldn't cover it, they lost their value. You're stuck with a piece of property that's not worth anything, and then you can't get your money back.
And now we're stuck in this mess. And a lot of this, when you're talking about a governmental investigation into white-collar crime, it sounds a lot like Enron. Is this basically Enron on steroids?
It seems a lot. It is very similar to how Enron began. If you remember Enron, Ken Lay and Skilling were brought before the Congressional Oversight Committees. They then began to talk to them, and it mushroomed into a big federal investigation based on the fact that they were inflating their earnings. That is some of the same allegations that are being made against these top financial houses, against Freddie Mac, against Fannie Mae, against Lehman Brothers, and against AIG. AIG had been fined before by the SEC to the tune of about $800 million in 2006 for doing roughly the same thing, inflating their books.
Okay, real quickly, let's talk about what are the FBI investigators going to be looking for?
They're going to be looking at several things. First of all and foremost, did they misrepresent to the public and their investors the veracity or the worth of these securities? Right. Remember, 5 days before Lehman went under, the chairman of Lehman was saying that this was in great shape. AIG was saying that their company was in great shape, and they turn around and they file for bankruptcy. If you mislead your investors, you're committing securities fraud, and securities fraud can end up with a penalty of up to 25 years in a federal penitentiary.
Okay, well, a lot of this is going to take a lot of time. Thomas Glasgow, thank you for being with us this morning, and the time right now is 6:23. Stay with us. We'll be right back.